I just believe that like you will miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
I know.
Take the shot. The worst that could happen is like you don't get a response or there's a no. Is it going to crush you? No. So take the shot, be specific, and then let the universe do its thing. Because girl, she is on fire, and if you let her, she will bring you amazing things.
She
So
might not give you what you asked for. She might give you something better. So
yeah, and she might give you a stepping stone to get there. And if you're too scared to take that leap, you may never get it. Yeah.
No.
Love it.
Yes.
Fire. Who's that girl? That's me. I'm on fire. I'm a hot girl. I'm a hot girl. I get anything I want. This is my world. I make big moves in my big heels. Since the day that I was born, I've been a big deal.
Let's do this. Thank you for coming back to Main Character Manifesto. Today, we have our very first guest. I am honored. You guys are my first guest.
I know that.
So exciting.
Brought you flowers.
We have the ladies of Napa Valley StreamFest. Let's do a quick little introduction. We have Fearon and we have Juliana. Hi. How are you guys, ladies?
So
great.
good. I didn't know this was your first guest
I know.
It is.
scenario.
It is.
We feel honored.
I feel honored to have you guys here.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
We're so glad you came into our life, and we can tell that story too. But
I know we should. We'll definitely. I kind of talked about it a little bit last week, but we should definitely go into it this week. I think we definitely manifested each other because I was thinking about like, okay, I need to launch this podcast. I have all these things to do. And I was just, dragging my feet, feeling like that imposter syndrome where I was like, oh my God, I just need to get it done. And as soon as I saw the advertisement for Napa Valley StreamFest and I looked at it, I read it, and then I was like, what is this? And then I did a little digging and I saw that it was you two that were the founders. And I'm like, it's women doing this? Stop. Like, I need to be a part of it. So that's when I was like, I thought about it for a week. I was like, okay, you're going to buy tickets. And then I said, no, you're not going to buy tickets. You're going to go, but you're going to work with them.
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
then because I did wait till the last minute. I was like, I'll just buy tickets if it doesn't work out. So then I went on there and I'm like, okay, it took me a week to kind of talk myself up and say, just do it. And I just sent you guys a message and I'm like, you know what? What's the worst? That's the worst that could happen.
DM
They could
away,
be like,
people. That's
I'm sorry, we don't have space, whatever.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen?
Our festival started on Thursday, and it was that weekend. We looked at our DMs, and she wrote this beautiful, lovely, DM just praising us and all of that. And I was like, I love this woman. It's amazing. And you're launching this manifest. We love to manifest. And I think I was like, can you hop on a call? And then on Monday, by Monday, I was like, let's meet. And you came in and she just rolled with it. And that is the difference, is you can just DM, but if you're not going to follow up and you're not going to come through and you're not going to show up, then don't bother. But you hustle.
Don't waste our
You're like,
time.
I can meet with you Monday. You showed up Monday on time. You came in and were like, what can I do? How can I help? And it was like, oh, thank you. Like somebody, and you just were like, I got this. And taking that off of our plate at that last minute is like something we could never explain to you how much that helped. Because all of that social media, you did just an incredible job just going through that and stepping up in a time that we needed somebody the most. So like I say, it was all meant for a reason. We literally that weekend were like, we've got our whole team. We're good. Everything's great.
And she's like, who's running social? I was like, not me. I was like,
one thing we're missing is just that, we had our, video, film team, all of that stuff to do some posting, but we had talked about it. I'm like, I want people to be FOMO'd out of this festival. I want that stories just filled. And you're like, I got you. And sure enough, you did. And it was incredible. So
yeah, no, it was great. I think it was a little nerve-wracking for me because I'm such a perfectionist where I'm like, okay, I don't understand the lineup. I don't know people's names. I remember when we were going through it the night before, you're like, okay, this person. And then I looked at you and I was like a deer, with the headlights. And I was like, can you repeat that? My brain was
a lot
on
of people.
And
I mean,
yes.
especially if you're coming on later and we've been emailing for months. We've seen their faces. We've created decks and
Yes.
website and social content based on these people. And so to come in at the 9th hour like you did and take that on was huge for you. And then also to be like digesting all these people and their role there and what they're doing and who's coming when. And so we learned a lot in that process of how to kind of delegate and bring people up to speed versus just throwing them in with the lion's
One
den.
thing with festival life, and it's, you know, great, but it's like, it's one day at a time, right? So you do everything you need to do for that next day. And that's it. You just have to focus on what do I need tomorrow morning before this festival starts. And you get that done. And a lot of times we're at parties till 10 o'clock at night and get back to the hotel room and you're doing everything you need to do for the next day that didn't get done. And you just do that for the 4 days in a row and then you sleep for a week after because you're exhausted. But yeah, it's a hustle.
I
It's a
can't
festival
even
hustle.
imagine you guys trying to do that social media and doing everything else that you guys were doing, because you guys were so busy, like being pulled in different directions, and things were like, you know, the cars are great, they're ready to be picked up, they're picking up this person needs to go here, that, you know, there was just like all of these things that were happening at the same time. I can't imagine. I mean, I was a one-person show and working with Mario and the team, the twins. They were great. We worked really well together, but it was a lot, you know.
No,
it was
we
great.
Appreciate all that. We were a very small and mighty team this year, but we had, you know, I don't think there was a lot that I would have done differently in the first year. I mean, everything went off without a hitch and smooth, and we're just so excited and proud of it.
People are probably like, what are they talking about?
I know. Yes.
What
are
what
we
is
talking
StreamFest?
about?
Who is
StreamFest?
what? Who are these people? Who is what? We just dove right in.
I know we did.
I know.
It's okay.
I know. I love it. So, like, before we dive into what Napa Valley StreamFest is and what it will be for next year, let's talk about you know, the women behind the scenes, the women that made it happen. So, who wants to go first? Wait, like, let's talk about maybe like your background. How did you get into the industry? How long you've been? I know you're an actress. One of the things,
Incredible actress.
one of the many talents that you have.
As an actor, at this point in time, you wear many hats.
Yes.
I grew up in an entertainment family. So my uncle, who passed away last year, was an actor my whole life. I would go visit him on set when I was a kid. He did a lot of sci-fi. So I would constantly go. My mom would take me out to Malibu. He'd be on set. We'd go visit. I'd see the cameras and it was a sci-fi show. So they're in like full hair and makeup, like looking like aliens. And I was just like, this is so cool. So I grew up watching that. And then my dad was a musician. And so I also grew up side stage at like the Whiskey A Go-Go and the Roxy and the Viper Room. And like, I was not supposed to be there,
That is so
but I
cool.
was as like a 6 and
Yes.
7-year-old on the side with earplugs in. Sometimes that's probably why my hearing is bad. But like, I saw this life that was bigger than me, and I thought, this is so cool. Like, I want to be a part of that. And I also want to tell stories. And as a kid, my dad would call me like a little Jim Carrey, because I'd make these faces and I would just get super weird. And I didn't care if anybody laughed at me. I almost encouraged that. And so as I got older, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I was like, I want to tell stories. I want to be in entertainment. I want to be in the spotlight. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of attention. And so, long story, we'll get to that. But like, I ended up kind of dabbling a little as a kid, nothing serious. And then as I got older in high school, I just kind of dove into the arts even more. I did video production at school. So I learned how to edit and do a lot of camera work. And I hosted my high school's morning show. And then we made sketch stuff that would show on Friday. I would do like the interviews with the sports team. So I kind of just loved the on-camera world.
Yeah.
I didn't do theater or anything. And then I did yearbook and student body and was the pep commissioner. So I was always just like in the light. And so I knew right away after high school, I was like, I'm going to move to Hollywood and just make it. That's going to happen. I'm going to have my Pamela Anderson moment. And that didn't happen. I moved to LA when I was like 17. I moved in this smack dab middle of a writer's strike and had no idea what was going on. I was just like, gosh, is this what it's like? There's no auditions. Like, how do people make it in this town? And got a job right away, and kind of was very embarrassed to tell people that I was an actor, because when I moved out there, I was obviously very insecure and young and didn't know who I was. And so I kept it to myself. And when people are like, what are you out here doing? I'd be like, I just, just moved out here for fun. And so I wouldn't tell anybody I was an actor, which I think was a big mistake, but I believe everything happens for a reason, and it just wasn't my time. And essentially after living in LA for a few years, I decided to leave, and it kind of like chewed me up, spat me out, and I was done. Quit acting. And then when I moved to the Bay Area in 2010, I was like feeling it out and realized they had a market up there. Dove back into acting kind of on a whim and was just like, yeah, that was fun. I'll try it again. Got an agent very quickly. Had my boyfriend at the time, husband now, do my headshots. They were awful. So bad. But got up on a casting site, just started submitting for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Ended up getting like the lead role in a couple of short films and was just like having fun. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And not putting a lot of weight on it. So went into acting, and then that snowballed, and I was auditioning a lot and booking a lot. And then I was getting constant roles for like the stripper number 2 and hooker. And I had long blonde hair and big boobs. So of course I was like, that's what I got. I was I was typecast. And eventually I was like, gosh, I wish they were making or just like writing roles that I actually could relate to. And so I started to try my hand at writing, got into writing, and then eventually went to go work for a film festival where I met this gal. And that kind of just changed everything because my whole like creative world just like expanded and opened up.
Yeah.
And now it was no longer just acting and writing. It was like, what else could I do in this world? So I'll kick it to you. That was a lot of words.
I love it though. 17. You were 17 when you moved to LA?
Yeah.
Dang. I did not realize
I graduated at 17, moved out there like maybe 6-7 months after.
Got it.
Yeah. Young and
Learn something new
impressionable.
about you every time. And me, well, I was not made for school either. So like, I got through high school, did not do college. Take that back. I went to 2 years, got my AA for my mom. That's all she asked me to do. Like, fine, Mom, I will go do that. I went to San Luis Obispo for that, Cuesta College, and had the best time ever. Some of my best friends I ever met down there. And then I got the travel bug. I went and traveled Europe. I went 2.5 months by myself in Europe, just traveling around.
Yeah.
Figured out who I was in life, and lots of ups and downs being over there, but I loved it. Came back. I managed a bar and grill in Fairfield. Ran a whole golf course. Hired all my friends. We basically where I get the business side of my brain right now is just everything that I learned from running a restaurant. Met my husband there. We moved to Sacramento, and I started working for a country club up there, and it was crazy. I got into weddings and events, and I was doing 10 weddings a weekend, which was nuts. We had like 3 ballrooms. We'd do 3 in the morning. Jeez. We'd have an hour to turn over all 3 rooms and do another 3 weddings that night. So like one day we could do like 6 weddings. And it was just like
a lot of nuptials.
I was young. I was in, my 20s, and we were just throwing them out. And I got to a point where it just got stale. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And I wanted that creativity and doing stuff. And I left and launched my own business, Fearon Events. So I, took on some very high-end weddings in the area and just kind of got into that world. And I was traveling. I was doing weddings in Tahoe and Palm Springs and Malibu, and did several celebrity weddings. But my passion had always been film. I had my own TV show as a kid. We were young, actors and models as kids, my sister and I. And I always wanted to be a casting director was what I really wanted to be. I love people, and I see things in people and like want to help them, find their purpose and things like that. So I was going to move to LA. I was waiting for my sister to graduate high school, and then I met my husband. We ended up staying. And
the
so
dude's
going,
always
through us.
what the hell?
I
No,
know.
just kidding. But it, then you go, okay, it was all kind of for a purpose when you get to this point in your life. So when a festival locally here came around, it was like, okay, LA is coming to me. Here's a little piece. I'm an event planner. This is an event. I can get my feet wet and kind of get into that world of film. And I was with the festival for 8 years and built their, programs, events. I was doing 11 events in a week for the festival and building out all those events. And yeah, that kind of, honestly, things happen for a reason there too. It just, I left in 2019, not on greatest terms, and then went on to work for some other festivals, Mill Valley and then Sundance. And it's a different world because like when the festival circuit's so different. It's like, you have your highs and lows. You work a ton leading up to the festival, and then you have that time off, and there's not a ton of festivals around. So like when you leave that, it's like, okay, now what am I supposed to do, and where am I going to go? And so we really were like, let's follow our dreams. We met at the festival, became very close. I got pregnant at the same time that she did. So we have our 6-year-olds and kind of on that same life path of raising our families and figuring out what the hell we're fucking doing in our life, and how do we follow our dreams? How do we be moms? How do we do this? How do we do that? And that led to us launching Ashello Productions, which is our production company, because she's an actress. I want to direct. Like, let's put this together. We sat and wrote Uncredited, which is our TV series concept that we've been out pitching. We shot that here in Napa at Lincoln Theater in 2022, and then took that out on the festival circuit. Got into several festivals, but it was hard. It's a 30-minute proof of concept, and it didn't fit into the box of a short film because it wasn't short enough. It wasn't long enough to be a feature film. And
what does a short film have to be versus like?
It doesn't have to be anything, but like programming wise, if we gave them a 30-minute short, they could have programmed for 5-minute or 10-minute shorts to like fill in there, and that's more films, that's more filmmakers, that's more passes.
15 minutes or under is
ideal.
Shorter the better,
film.
they say.
Yeah,
because then they can program more in that block. But obviously a pilot or a proof of concept that originally we wrote to be a 60-minute dramedy. So to scale that back to a 29 minutes was like, okay, here's our proof.
Yeah.
But
like
even
the
then,
most you could have scaled it down.
Hard. Yeah.
We tried. I mean, it started out as like, let's just write like a 10-minute short. And then it was like 10 turned into 20, 20 turned into 30, 30 turned into, we're like, we got to stop writing, which is great. Like not a bad problem to have, but we had a lot of content. And then when we went to shoot it, it was like, we were like, okay, well, we have this cool, we want to do this and we want to do that. And like, we want to give the whole spectrum in this fast pace, like,
and it's build the characters and how do you show who the characters are? And things
it takes place, basically it follows the character I played, which is based on Fearon's life, Elle, and you follow her from the jump, and it's like a day in her world, and it's just one day, and it's just like the chaos that goes on backstage for one event. So like, there's a lot there, and that's why we went on to write the rest of it. But yeah, all that to say, like watching Fearon's experience at the festival, because I mean, I started as like a volunteer, and then I came back as like something else, and eventually was your assistant one year. Like she'd be in the shower, and her phone would be blowing up, and I'd be like, "You're getting text messages?" And I'd be like sitting in the bath, and she'd be like, "Who is it?" And I would respond, and then I'd be like, "What about this one?" And she'd be like, "Oh, this is it." And like I would just be firing off texts as her assistant, and as she's able to take a 5-minute shower before the next event. And so I got to see this crazy world. Yeah. And at one point, her and her colleagues were like, gosh, this is a fucking drama. This is a show. And so when the festival kind of ended and COVID happened and we were all sitting around, she was like, kind of want to write that show. And I was like, hey, I've been writing. It's
time.
Yes. Yeah. And she's like, will you help me? I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so obviously that turned into us just like full circle
being business partners for life now. You're like, stuck with me for life.
We started at a festival, we wrote about a festival, let's create a festival, let's be. I was like, what are we doing?
I know. She got done with the festival this year, and she's like, I think I kind of turned into Elle now.
I
am that character, and I'm like,
your character.
Welcome.
Yeah, it's a crazy world.
Yes,
as you got to see.
I did get to see. I feel like it's so funny because hearing you guys talk about like your introduction to film festivals and how like for you that opened your eyes, and like for you too, because you came from events, other wedding events. First of all, I don't know how you did that many weddings. As a hairdresser, I used to do wedding hair, and I would come home after doing like 10 people's hair and like dealing with like the bride and the groom and the mother and I would come home and I'd literally be like, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Like I would need, like, how did you even do that? That's wild.
Same way. It was a lot. It was a venue.
Yeah.
And,
people. It's a lot of energy.
And it's a lot to deal with, a lot of people, and you would just send them down the aisle. Like there was very much like, next. Okay, you're going by. And like, I didn't even know people's names half the time because it was so many people. Which is why when I left to start Fearon May Events, it was a lot more like personalized, and I got into design, and I shadowed for a couple big companies that were doing like the massive holiday parties and things like that, and learning how to drape and how to like all the decor and stuff like that. And it just comes, like, hate to say natural, but it is. It's like event planning is something like you either have it or you don't. It's
Yeah.
like a click in your head. And there's a scene in our show where it's like, you know, everyone's all talking and stuff, and Elle is scanning the room. It's like, why is that ladder there? Oh my God, there's glasses sitting over there. Like you can see every flaw. You're not sitting there going like, oh, this event's so beautiful. It's just
so
like in your head, you're
true.
like, why is that there? Who did chit chat? Oh my God, why is that person here? They're not even on the guest list. You know, like you can literally see all of that. And that's how it is. And it's hard sometimes to like enjoy it and be in the moment and slow down. I had to try to do that a lot at StreamFest. Like we both would be like, take a breath, look at where we're at, look what we did. Like Jason Siegel's on our stage right now. Like, let's just enjoy this for a moment versus like, oh my God, we have this and that didn't happen. And it's so easy to get into those details of like, why isn't that there? And that type of stuff. So it's like trying to breathe and figure that out. But yeah, starting with that idea and concept. I think we were at another festival. We were staying in a hotel room and it just kind of became like we can do this. And I think we could do this better. Like, I mean, we know festivals. We've been doing them forever. I plan events for a living and like, we should just make our own. And like bringing it back to this community in Napa is, you know, we know all the wineries. We've worked with everybody a lot in this, you know, town and things like that. And it's just an art-filled community. Everybody here, you know, wine is art. And so just kind of creating that. And once we started talking to the city and do Napa and visit Napa Valley, they were like, yeah, we support this and would love to have this here. So kind of stemmed once we got the okay from them. We're like, okay, off we go. Let's do this.
And every time I come back to Napa, I'm just like, I just like love it here.
I know.
I'm not from here. I lived in, you know, Vacaville for 12 years and worked in the Bay Area and like now I live in LA. But and I was telling Michael Fox, who's our VP of our nonprofit, I was like, I just feel like I'm back at camp when I'm in Napa. And I think it's because of the memories I have here are pretty positive. And then obviously we built StreamFest here, but it's like you never know who you're going to run into on the street. And I'm not from here, but you always see somebody.
You've created connections.
Yeah.
So you have ties here.
Yeah. And it's like the walkability in the downtown. It's just like such a great place to come. It's a great destination, as we know, like vacation destination. But it's also it's very homey feeling. It's very community driven. And I search for that everywhere I go.
Yeah.
And so the question of where to do this, it was kind of a no-brainer. Where to do it, like, let's just take it back to Napa. And that's what we're building. And I think we did a great job our first year, but now it's, you know, moving into future years and being like, okay, how do we keep this here and keep it sustainable and turnkey for the first few years and really just keep manifesting those things that we know it can be little by little, brick by brick. Because Fearon was like, let's do something simple. And then you came to our festival and you were like, that was simple. So, but we also coming off of like a 10-year festival and then her diving into working at other festivals that are extremely established, like 20 plus years. To go and then create your own. The first ye's not going to feel like a first year because you're like, well, look at what I'm comparing it to.
Yeah.
It's very similar to like when I write. I'm a new writer essentially, but I don't write as a new writer. I look at the best of the best scripts because why wouldn't I at least, if I'm looking at what I imagine is like my GOAT, you know, North Star script and I'm using that as a reference. Like I might be far from it, but at least that's you're looking at the Mecca, you're like, okay, I can land somewhere below that and feel accomplished. So it's what we set out to do. I think we did a good job.
And what became of StreamFest, or, you know, the concept was once we tried to take our 30-minute proof of concept out, it's like there's so much now that we are streaming, watching, you know, I love TikTok. We watch TikTok videos, YouTube videos, like how come these people aren't having a platform? And then it really became about giving the community more of a platform as well too. And how can we give these indie artists who don't have these huge audiences? Because, you know, there were plenty of festivals that we went to and it was like we were in the 30-person theater down the hall from the one that's playing the celebrity films and we're standing out there trying to get people to come in and even fill the 30 seats. And like, that doesn't feel great. And you're like all excited you got into this festival, but then it really didn't matter. Now I spent all this money coming to the festival and, you know, I'm having to fill the festival myself with seats trying to get people to come in and watch your work. So how can we put them on a stage in between this well-known podcast that has a bunch of followers and this, you know, celebrity driven film that we're playing so that they also have a audience and people are already sitting in here watching both of those that we get to play their short film or their 30-minute concept between them. And so kind of set out to like bring everybody together And then content creators, there's so many that are creating such creative work. And a lot of the festivals are like using their popularity to come and like cover the festival, you know, and they're bringing them and you're saying, oh, they're at Sundance and all this stuff, but they're not there. They're either getting paid to be there or they're, you know, we'll give you a pass and you shoot 4, you know, stories and 1 post and it's a deal. Where we were like, they should also be honored and created like a film and an artist and giving them a platform to talk about how they shoot their stuff and, you know, what's that about. I think Adam Rose was one of our biggest like draws and people loved him, and him just telling how he got started and how one video can change your whole world and to not give up. He's like, yeah, you see the one that went viral, but you didn't see the 300 before that nobody watched. That I was like, so true. Do I give up? Do I watch this? And just hearing their stories,
because they don't talk about that on their platform.
No. They don't talk about behind the scenes stuff.
Some do. I feel like now nowadays, especially over the last year, there's been a movement into making content more relatable, not so perfect. Like they're doing studies on which trends do better, and the videos that are showing like the behind the scenes, like not just the perfectly done with the cuts and the everything. What people want to see is like real life. They want to see when, you know, you auditioned 10 times and you didn't get it, but you got that like 100th audition, right? So people want to relate because that's the reality of our life. Our life is not just a perfect, you're not shooting and like landing the net every single time. There's a lot of misses that we take. So I think that was great. And the fact that you guys really wanted to pull away from the standard film festival and be like, okay, what are people not doing? What is missing in the industry? How can we stand out, be unique, but also include people that are not being included?
Right.
So I think the way that you guys brought in content creators and live podcast, and I remember we were talking about how when you were explaining to people that have been to other film festivals and they were like, I don't listen to podcasts, right? Because I feel like the older generation hasn't really gotten the memo. So they don't understand what, you know, but the way that I liked how you phrased it, you said, okay, well, when you go to a film festival, you like listening to the Q&A. You like hearing the actors
tell their story.
Hear their story. That's what a podcast is. They're diving deep into it. And also like the cult podcast was great. I didn't know about it. And I'm like, I've been telling all my friends about it. I'm like, you guys need to listen to this.
Yeah. They blew us away. Like we obviously gave them the platform. We had meetings with them ahead of time. We obviously knew the basis and form of their podcast, but we had no idea it was going to be like a production, like a live on stage, like play practically with screen component, with a guest, with this theatrical. It was just, it was something that even I didn't expect. Like I was in the audience like, holy shit. Okay, like look at you guys.
I think that was one of the biggest surprises, and that was a lot of our feedback was, I mean, when they say like what was your favorite part, a lot came back with that. Like they had no concept of what that was going to be, and like there is that fear of like, oh God, like what is this, and do I want to stay to watch this or do I pop out? And people were just like, that was like the one massive surprise that everybody just ended up loving and had no idea what to expect.
And
it's about discovery. Comedians too were incredible. Like, you know, Leah just blew everybody away for sure. And
Leah Knauer
was great. Yes.
Shout out.
She was amazing. They were all great. Heather was hilarious.
Corey O'Brien, like just everybody was a talent to be discovered. If you didn't already follow them on social, you were absolutely following them the second they got on stage or off stage. And our biggest, you know, what we set out to do is to bring an audience to these undiscovered, quote unquote, undiscovered talent, because they are discovered, but at the same time, like you may not know who they are. I may not know who they are, but you are discovering. We're bringing community together to now watch this, you know, production, this show, this film, whatever, and do it together because we've become so isolated in our phones. And so it was a way for us to create this variety act on a stage and bring what we see in our phones to life in front of you and bring these people to you to have a more, you know, organic and deep connection versus just, oh, you see them behind a screen, they're funny. Great. The Adam Rose conversation with Marquess Allen was a hit as well because people, again, more people knew who he was than I was surprised.
I
I was just like, oh, okay, of all different generations. And so he was a highlight. People were raving about that conversation and the fact that he was here and he was going to every event and he was so
He was so
approachable.
involved.
Fun,
Actually,
yes.
I feel like everybody at the event was involved. It almost felt like a little
Summer
family.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did
We
feel
said it
like
was-
summer
it's
camp.
Summer camp with great wine and food. That's what we said.
Everybody was just showing up at every event and being a part of it. It didn't feel like they were just showing up because, they came to do.
Because they had to do 4 posts and one
Exactly. Yeah.
stories, and they were there on contract. We made
Exactly.
them part of the festival in being artists, and it's a different vibe. It really is. And the amount of connections that have already come from this, like Leah is now opening for Heather at one of the comedy
That's
shows.
amazing.
There's
Corey
Corey
and RK are coming to
back.
Napa.
Yes, Heather just posted a picture with Diane Warren. Like they were somewhere down in LA together. Like
Oh,
there's
that's
just
amazing.
So many little things like that have already started happening, and that's
Little,
all
like,
that we really wanted. The festival
spawns.
was for storytelling, discovering new things, and human connection, and those were are what we set out to build this festival for. And I can say we have done all of that.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
exciting
It was
fun.
to see.
Yeah.
And to watch this thing continue, to grow, and who we'll bring next year will be exciting.
So now that we've kind of defined the differences between a traditional film festival and what StreamFest is, it's a hybrid of streaming, not only films and comedy. Do you guys foresee the same type of format for next year, or what do you see wanting to do different?
Yeah, and I think just to clarify too, another thing different from a lot of festivals are multiple venues, right? You have
Yes,
all the
that's a
different
huge-
venues. You're constantly running from one venue to the next. There's also a lot of planning. Like I'm a planner, so it is when I go to a festival, yeah, you have to get out the program guide, the week before and figure out what films, sometimes even a month before, to say okay, tickets go on sale, and even though I bought a pass, I still have to go in and register for each screening that I want to go to and reserve my seat. And it's just so much.
lot of work.
Sometimes it's a lot of work. And no matter what's here, you could be a high ticket and you still have to go in and reserve your seats and figure out what you're going. I'm I might change my mind and I don't want to see that day, or I want to laugh instead of cry, there's so many different things. So yeah, we had a lot of people who needed to believe in us to say oh, the curated experience with one venue, and I don't have to run around. I don't have to go to all these different places. I'm in one theater, but we're basically programming it for you. So you don't get that luxury of being oh, I only want to go watch comedy all day, but you're trusting what you're going to see is good. And a lot of people are I loved that about it, because
Yes.
I didn't have to think. I could just come in and enjoy, and I discovered things that I was blown away about that I would have never gone to see at a normal festival. Then there are those people who are oh, I just would have really liked my own, and be able to, well, that's a film festival then, and you can go enjoy that.
Yes.
Because this is something different we're doing. We want those who are I'm open to all of it. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, and there were a lot that said, I didn't love every little thing that I saw. There was maybe 1 or 2 I didn't, but it was the convenience of being in one location and not having to worry and run around that they would take over anything else.
We also understand that in the first year, we really did have to establish what we are, who we are, and what we're doing different. And so to answer your question, we foresee the next couple of years being a model of what we did last year and tweaking things to make it better and better based on feedback that we've received, so that we're not breaking the mold. We've now told you and brought people here and said, this is what it is. A lot of the feedback, I would say 90 to 95% of the feedback was very positive and was this was cool. This was new. Now I get it. And so now that we've established what it is and we've gotten the okay nod of, oh, I get it now, we don't want to steer too far away from that. We want to give people that same experience, and new people that are coming to have that moment of, oh, I get it now. And I feel that over the next 5 years, we're going to continue to have to say, hey, this is what it is. This is what it is. It isn't a traditional film festival. It's a new way of being, because the reality of it, and I've said this in podcasts before, but festivals, and not just film, music as well, are a dying breed. So how do you stay fresh? How do you get people out of their homes and into a venue or onto an event space? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it is more convenient to sit at home and watch your show with your popcorn, and you can pause and you can go pee and you can do all those things, but you're not getting the fun moments in the theater, and you're not meeting people.
The connections.
Human
The connection, the relationship building is huge. I think for the filmmakers,
We also throw epic parties.
yeah. Well, duh. But it just felt like we needed to now we need to just streamline what we've already done, iron out any little kinks, which there weren't that many, thankfully, and flip it and do it again, bring in fresh new talent, bring in some alums, because we had some fan favorites that are like, we're coming back. And then the people were like, bring so-and-so back.
Do you want to talk about some of the fan favorites that people...
Leah Knauer,
Yes.
I mean, with hands down,
everybody
was
loved her.
a hit. Her comedy
So
set.
good. I need to... Like after seeing her, like the way that she sings, and she's so good.
She's so good.
She's about to
mean-
blow up. I
know.
it.
We think
She
she's
is.
going to have a Netflix special soon. So we're like, we need to get her again. So we absolutely want to bring her back.
Yeah.
Tyler Brigantino did an amazing job moderating the
He
Pass
did
the Mic.
great.
I was like, you've done this before. He's like, no, I'm nervous. And I was like, you did so good.
He did so good.
So I'd love to have him moderate another panel. Tiny Tino. I mean, obviously we'd love to have kind of everybody come back.
Yeah.
But obviously
All
we
of our
have to.
filmmakers were amazing. They all want to come back just, to come and network and things like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, we'll continue to keep growing it, and people
Fresh
will-
faces, of course.
faces.
But yeah, I think that we just gave people a really cool experience. We don't want to then year 2 turn around and be like,
turn around,
okay,
do
let's do something
something
different.
different.
Yeah.
So we are keeping it, the programming fairly
Yes.
similar.
We do know we need more breaks and more opportunities for food. That was one of the
People be
feedbacks, and
hungry.
we'll
They
be
want
working on
food.
it.
I get it. I eat constantly. Got a meat stick in my bag. But it's like, that was one thing. Yeah, that was some
simple fix, yeah.
constructive.
Maybe like a food truck, 2 food trucks parked
Yeah.
outside.
We can get through those permits.
Yeah.
No, there are a lot of
Yes.
nuanced things
Yes.
that we tried to do that we unfortunately weren't able to this year, that would have probably helped with some of those little moments of feedback. But we're hoping and finding a way to do them next year, again, to just work off of that consumer feedback, because without that,
Yes.
you got to hear the people and what they
Yeah.
want. But
Yeah.
the programming is the one consistent thing we keep getting feedback, like, the people loved. The programming was amazing, and it was great films, great
There's a lot of
talent.
questioning of like, I don't know how a variety act's gonna work, and then so many people were like, I
You-
take that back.
yeah,
you
you
did it. And
proved
the
me
variety
wrong. But-
act was amazing.
Yeah, because even if you think about what we consume on what is shown to us, right? Like you have an algorithm,
Right.
you have an algorithm, I have an algorithm. So maybe like some of these will never come to me. Some of these people that maybe aren't on TikTok and YouTube and all of the other platforms, but love film, love comedy. Maybe they didn't even know they liked podcasts, and now they're going to listen to podcasts. How many of those are you guys exposing all of these wonderful different experiences to? So I think definitely that was my first film festival, but it wasn't even a film festival. So seeing the difference hearing the difference from you guys, and you're like, no, normally you have to go to different venues. And my experience was, I didn't even know I needed that type of like experience in my life. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I mean,
know.
I love everything about content creation. I love the behind the scenes learning, the production, the filming, the editing. And I was like, wow, I should have gone to film school. Like, this is so interesting.
Definitely feel there is a stigma with film festivals and just the attainability or attending it. Like, there's so many that think like it's like and you can't, it's invite only, or I can't, tickets are like $2,000 to go to something like this. And there are so many festivals out there that you can buy a $15, $20 ticket to go see a film. You can buy a smaller, like we had our day passes were only $125. Like, you can come enjoy an entire day and watch films. I know Britt, I had taken her to Mill Valley Film Festival. She's like, you can come to these things, and I'm like, and the amount of people you meet and connect with and things like that, you're just kind of like, you just don't think that you're able to go, and you can't. You can buy a ticket to any,
And some of them
of these
are that
events.
way.
Yeah.
Some of them
Yeah.
are invite only, and a little bit more exclusive and curated and just for industry. And I think there is that misconception. And I think that's also something we're trying to break. There were some people that are like, well, it's not really for me. I don't stream. It's like, really? You don't stream anything? Do you watch TV? Do you have Instagram? Are you on Facebook?
Netflix.
Are you,
Everybody's
whatever.
on Netflix.
Like
I
my
feel
mom
like
watches
almost
more
everybody-
streaming than I do.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
she's
my dad
definitely,
might be the only person I know that doesn't stream, but even then, he streams Spotify. So music is streaming, content is streaming, TV and film are streaming. I mean, everything nowadays, podcast is streaming. So it, getting away
clarifying
from,
what that is for people that don't realize they're already doing it.
100%. And I think also you had mentioned you like kind of the learning and the behind the scenes. Like as we grow in the future, it's really easy to be like, let's add a panel, let's add this, let's add that. But like it is a lot of work when you add just even one more venue and a whole slate of programming. And also then, you want to add food and drink. It's a lot. So in an effort to not grow too fast, too quickly, we are keeping it, again, simplified. But one of the things we want to add in is, more opportunities to learn and to enjoy a panel or a conversation on stage, kind of a little bit of that behind the scenes peek into these people's lives. And I think the Q&As do that. I think the onstage conversations with people like Jason Segel, Meredith Hagner do that. We had, bookended with panels on Thursday and Sunday. So there's a lot of opportunity outside of just sitting and watching something in the theater. There are panels and discussions and industry mixers and parties, and there is so much to enjoy. So even if you came to one thing a day, I mean, personally, I think it's worth that. So we had a good time.
Yeah. Yes. No, I feel like everybody that I talked to thought, I think it was Tyler Bergantino, and he was like, I thought I was going to just be in my room most of the time.
He was at everything.
I know.
Every red carpet. No, he did great. He was so fun.
It was great. He's like, I love it. I'm having a great time. I'm like, yeah, well, keep doing what you're doing because it's great for us.
Great.
Yeah.
So we're excited. We just started planning again. We were up last night trying to lay out the schedule and the breaks and doing that fun stuff. So
Diving into year 2 already.
Do you guys have any other projects coming up under the umbrella of StreamFest or under the umbrella of your nonprofit?
Yeah, we're about to launch our mentorship program. StreamFest started as a nonprofit, StreamFest Society, and we built upon that. And the festival essentially is a big fundraiser for that. When Fearon and I decided to come together and create Ashella Productions and work together, I was in my early 30s, like this was years ago. So I also realized like we went to festivals and there's a lot of grants and programs but they're all for like 20-year-olds or over 45.
Right out of college.
Or kids, which
kids.
is amazing. And there is so many for that.
Yeah.
But just like I felt roles were limited for women in their 30s, grants and scholarships and fellowships, I felt I was getting kind of missed.
Yeah.
Like I'm 30s, 34 or something at the time, and was like, all right, well, I guess I don't fit into any of these boxes. And so we also were always kind of looking for mentorship through this process. Obviously, entertainment is extremely difficult as a career. It's a really closed door system. It's a small town. It's a small industry to break into. And so unless you have an aunt or an uncle who opens that door for you or a mom or dad, it is hard. And the film festival world is a great way, or at least it used to be, because it was really all about the independent artist. And that's kind of gone away since everybody's going indie. A24 is considered indie, but that's a $10 million budget with Brie Larson as your lead. Like that's not really indie. We're talking like under $1 million films, unknown artists, unknown actors that you can discover. And we're getting away from that as the corporate film festivals take over and the studios take over. But I won't get political. But we realize like there's a lack of mentorship for people in this industry that, especially post-COVID, realized I don't want a 9 to 5. I don't want to sit at a desk. I don't want to punch a clock. I love the art, or I love music. I love podcasting. Like, why didn't I go do that before I had kids or when I was in college? And so we want to help those individuals that are looking to pivot out of their day job that's bleeding them dry and get into something they are actually passionate about. So it doesn't just have to be film. We're creating and have created a really great advisory board with amazing industry folk that are thriving in what they do, whether it's from editing, directing, podcast producing, you name it. And we're
amazing.
pairing them with these mentees. So that'll launch hopefully by the end of June. We'll have a Film Freeway application they can fill out with a low submission fee, just so we know you're serious. And they'll fill that out. We'll go through a couple of rounds of cuts. We'll narrow it down, and then we'll make our selections and pair them with advisors to help mentor them in their journey.
When I went to direct uncredited for the first time, it's, my first project that I directed. And if I could have had a one-on-one, an hour Zoom call with a very well-known director to just ask all the little questions that I didn't feel like an idiot on set, I want to get this out of the way and who can I ask? And it would be amazing to have. And then, if you connect and they're like, yeah, would you like to come shadow me on set for one day so you can see exactly what that is? Like, those are so important. And I wish I had that. So we created that so that we can help offer that to others as well as we continue to grow too.
When you take a class like I started to do in my 30s, they are very generic and broad. So I was at a very specific place in my life. I'd been acting and on set for 7-8 years at that point. So I'm not a total newbie to what set life is like, but I also was in a very specific place in my career. So getting the opportunity to talk to somebody one-on-one and say, this is where I'm at. This is what I've done. This is where, and then being able to almost tailor their advice to you specifically and your journey. And, we use this reference a lot, but like if I'm somebody who's been in finance my whole life, but never touched the entertainment industry, but I have a really creative bone and I would always love that, you might make a great line producer. You're already good with numbers, Yeah. So like talking to somebody to say, well, this is my background and my experience. How do I pivot that into entertainment or storytelling? And then being able to just kind of help mold your path. And you may not take their advice, and you might shadow them on set. That's TBD, but just giving people that opportunity for that one-on-one specialized advice.
Yes.
Which you're not really going to get unless you pay for it, to be honest.
No, and it's rare. It's rare to be able to find somebody who is willing to give you the time, unless, like you said, somebody's opening the door, somebody knows them, they're doing somebody else a favor. Yeah. So it's really hard to get that, especially, like you said, in that age range where you're kind of like forgotten if you're not just starting out. I feel like starting out, they want you. They want you.
And most of the time, like, you're hungry at that age.
You are.
I find having a child and I'm in my mid-30s, I've never been more hungry. Like, I'm ready to, like,
I agree.
do this.
Yes.
And I also have years of experience of work, not just entertainment work, but just other jobs and now life experience. So I do think that can go undervalued. And so we're hoping to...
Two strong women who did not, go to college and get
went to college,
massive degree or anything to that
sprinkled in.
We realize that seeing people's true, I read people very well and can see like if they're driven, if they want this, where they would, bend well and just trying to provide more I feel like I need mentorship, but at the same time, like I also know a lot of stuff. And even one of our newer filmmakers, it was his first project, and I just had an hour-long conversation with him after StreamFest just to help mentor him on like where to put it next. And it's 30 minutes. We did 30 minutes. Didn't do well here, and here. Try it here. Like, I would say it's a pilot instead of a short, just because that helps you get it in more and things like that. So I'm like, oh, look at me mentoring. Like, I can do this.
Look at me giving me all my wisdom away.
So, I think we're excited about that, to launch that as well. And then speaking of manifesting, because I know that's what this is about too. It's like before we even launched StreamFest, I wanted it in my head as like, what do I want my life? Like, do I want to run a film festival? Like, I left a film festival. Why, or, why do we want to create our own festival and not schedule? And then it's like, okay, let's look at life. And, we both have kids, and how do we make this life? And once I actually sat down and manifested what I wanted my life to look like and how StreamFest fit into that. So I was like, okay, I know festival life. So January through April, it's crazy. Like, you maybe have a little time in January, but full time, January through April, you're nothing but StreamFest. May, you wrap it up. You got to put the little bow on it. And then you get the summer off with your kid, June, July, August, little emails here and there, but, like
a little maintenance.
Yeah, a little maintenance, website, social stuff, some fun stuff, working on that. But I actually get to spend time with my daughter, take some vacations. And then I still want to direct. So September, October, November, like direct a project. Again, still working on StreamFest, doing what I need to do, but like I want to be on set somewhere September, October, November, filming something, a commercial, a music video, a film, whatever that looks like.
Yes.
I'm on set those months. I get December then, Christmas, great time, enjoy that time. Oh, look, it's January again. We're right back to StreamFest. And so once I like
focus
was like that's okay, that's my life. I'm okay with that. I get a trip in December. I get to go do stuff over the summer. Like we get to do this together and have like that's great. I get a little bit of my film stuff. I get a little bit of this life and okay. And then every single person I met, I would tell that to. This is, I'm going to do StreamFest and this is what my life looks like. And as soon as I kept saying it, it was like, okay, now it's happening.
How did you start to break down like how, because a lot of people like we are into manifesting. We
100%
know what are the steps we need to take. Maybe we're still learning. There's things that we do, right? Everybody has a different process.
Yeah.
Some people are visualizing everything that they see. Some people write it down. Like, what is your guys's process? So like, we'll start with you. What is your process, or how did you learn? When did you realize what your process was, right? Because from your life before to now where you're like, you talk about it like it's matter of fact, like it's literally like I file my taxes, right? Like people don't understand.
I named my cow that I don't have right now, but she's
Yeah.
I have a huge bulletin board that
Mood
is
boarding?
my mood, but I don't do it once a year. It's like once every like 5 years. It's like that's there and that's going to happen. And then I just have to walk away from it.
Do you have like check-ins kind of to be like, okay,
Every once in a while I'll look at it, be like, okay, that's kind of going in that direction. And then I just walk away from it again. It's in my office. It sits there. I like see it every day. But
Yes.
the one that was before it. So I've had, I don't know, 2 since we really kind of met. Like I had a whole corner that was dedicated to I went through IVF, trying to be a mom.
Yeah.
It was like literally LMA. I had her named already, blonde hair, blue eyes, like pictures of, pregnant women, all that stuff. And then down below was more like the LA Hollywood stuff. Meet Jason Segel on
have
there.
a beer with him.
Check.
Yep.
Not
was
the beer,
on there.
but
7 years. And then now I have the baby. Let's take that down. Let's redo
Yes.
this. I want my farmhouse. And like, I like Photoshop in like varieties, 10, directors to watch in 2026. Like you just put different,
Yes.
like I just do it all. And then, like I say, and then I leave it alone and walk away.
Yeah.
let it go.
So
then-
for you, it's like visualizing it, seeing it, and then releasing it. I actually think that's probably like the most important part in manifesting is feeling like it's already happening and then releasing it, because a lot of people get so hung up on this one thing happening and when is it going to happen and all of that. And then you're just like sitting, instead of like attracting it and feeling abundant, you're like in that lack mentality because you're thinking about not having it, right? So it's so hard to let go and be like, all right, cool. It's there. I'm releasing it.
I'm specific too. I put a picture of myself in the middle of it, and then I cut out a bunch of pictures of me with friends or industry people or people, and like I'll have like, this is also the team of people in my life that are going to help me get to this stuff on the outside of it. Does that make sense? So it's like me in the middle and then cut out all my friends and people. And it just says like my posse, I think. It's just like all the people that I know in my circle that will continue to help push me and grow me to be able to get the rest of the stuff that's on this board. And that's helped me to be like, oh, and I'll look and I'll be like, oh yeah, like there's me and Britt and she's still in my life and helping me do this. And here's Jules and me.
We had to
and
cross anybody out.
there's
Yeah.
Fox.
Like
No.
X out.
No.
Like yearbook
But there's
style.
stuff on there that I'm like, really didn't show up
You
at all.
are not making the board next year.
Regina George, ugly, fugly.
Oh my
No.
God, that's hilarious.
But then, so like that's been there. But then, when I really calendar out, what that life looks like is a little bit different than the visual side of it, and just being like, okay, then this works. And, then I was just everyone I'd met, I'd be like, yeah. So, and once I started saying that, I got a phone call and said, hey, I'm working on this project. My friend Kelly is a producer. She's like, I'm working on this project. I really want to pitch you as a first-time director for the film. And we're possibly shooting it September, October in Ohio. And I was like, that fits into my life because it's, I was like, as soon as I said, I want to film something September, October, November, I get a phone call about filming September, October, November.
Specificity.
Yes.
It is.
It really is.
It
laying that
matters.
out. Asking the universe for a specific, I would like to shoot a film during these 3 months every year, blah, 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 blah. Or we're on set of uncredited and every, year we're filming.
But
those
also
months.
inspired action, right? So I feel like there's, okay, visualize it, like clarify to the universe, okay, what do I want? I want this, and then I want it to happen about this time, because specificity, but specifically what you want, but not exactly, also leaving a little bit of parameters, because it might happen this year and it might happen next year, right? And then letting it go, but then also acknowledging that there's steps that we need to take, right? So like, if we wouldn't have sent those DMs, if we wouldn't have done certain things that our gut was like, it was like our fear that was like, oh, that feels uncomfortable. It's expansion, it's growth, that I don't want to do it. And a lot of the times people stop at that moment, and like, it's the universe and their intuition telling them, this is your next move, you have to do it. And then if you don't listen to that, then you're stuck, right? So,
and sometimes that moves on to somebody else, because there's been times where I've been like, that was my idea, and now someone else is doing that, and you're frustrated, but you're like, well, I waited too long. It's
Magic.
my own fault.
Oh gosh, it's gonna bug me. I think is it Brene Brown or Glennon Doyle? It's Magic something.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful cover. And in that book, she says the universe puts something deep inside of you, and for and watches it blossom essentially. But if you don't take that, it will give it to someone else, whether it's an idea or
100%
something.
believe that.
Yeah, I believe that too.
I also think that sometimes when you're manifesting something and you're really working on it, your energy is a vibration.
100%.
So you're vibrating onto other people. So you're like, oh, I really want that. I want that promotion. And then all of a sudden your husband gets that promotion. You're like, you're welcome.
100%.
You know?
Yeah.
So
My energy got you that promotion.
yeah, I feel like it's staying in the course and staying positive and be like, all right, cool. They got it because I know I'm next, right? So instead of being like, that was mine. Like,
Envy is
and pivoting
killer.
though too, and learning that. So like last year, was when I said that I get the offer to direct my first feature film. We're supposed to be shooting, September, October, November, because that was the plan. And now, after getting through StreamFest and stuff, there's still a lot of fundraising and money that needs to be raised for that. And I don't know that we can do that. So now we're kind of pivoting and looking at summer of next year, which, that wasn't, the plan. But now I'm like, okay, well, that gives me more time now to like really build out StreamFest to that by maybe next summer. It's really, running, and we've got a bigger team on. There's more people handling the thing. So then that gives me more time to really just dive in and be present on that film without having to wear so many hats and things too. So it's pivoting and be like, I'm still doing that. It's just going to be a little longer now.
It's just kind of trusting that you're still on the right path and like things might look a little different than what you expected.
100%, yeah.
What is your manifesting style?
I'm a big believer in you attract what you put out. So I ebb and flow between lack mentality and abundance. I like to live in the abundance mentality and the high vibes.
Yes.
But I journal a lot. And with that, I meditate. I have a lot of self-care practices. It's like,
She's really good.
Work out, cold plunge, sauna, journal. Like I do all of that as an effort to create a version of myself in which shows up every day for myself first, because I do believe also if you don't show up for yourself first, how in the hell can you show up for anybody else?
100%.
And I have a 6.5-year-old and I have a husband and friends and family. Yeah, it's like I feel that it could be misconstrued as selfish, but I don't care. I'm showing up for me so that I can be a better mom and a better wife and a better friend.
Yes.
So I do all of that in the effort to stay in that high vibrational world, because the second that I start to let those self-care practices fall away is when I drop real low. The depression sets in. I'm not journaling. I'm in a lack mentality. I'm woe is me. It's victim mentality also. And nothing's going right. And that just doesn't bring anything. And I've been there. I've been at a low where I'm like, nothing's working. Why is nothing working? And then I realize like, oh, because I'm putting out this disgusting energy. So for me, it is mindset. A lot of it is mindset. are you showing up with that lack mentality? Because if you wake up every day and you're like, I'm broke and oh, my life sucks and this is the
what does your
worst.
self-talk look like?
Yeah. And like, I'm fat, I'm ugly. It's like, yeah, okay. Well, if you talk to yourself that way, like, what do you expect to change? So I do think it also stems in gratitude. You wake up in the morning, I'm extremely grateful for where I live and the life I have. And I also surround myself with people that I aspire to be like. I mean, I have a lot of successful friends that are very wealth abundant and have the house and all the things and I'm like, this is amazing. I'm not envious or jealous of you. I'm inspired by you.
Yeah.
I see what you have and I know that I can also be there if a material thing is something I strive for, which isn't always the case, but sometimes it is. Sometimes you want the Porsche and that's okay.
And what's wrong with that, right?
There's
So
nothing wrong with that.
allowing what we want and accepting that wanting a material thing is not a bad thing, because we were told that being materialistic is a bad thing, right? So it's like how you're showing up, you're a good person, you're giving to the world and to others in various different ways. Like, we know that that's not a bad thing. So accepting and letting go of that noise from the outside, I think, is huge. And
yeah, I think being specific about what you're calling in is extremely important. Yeah. So whether that's journaling or vision boarding, which I also do, or speaking it out into the world, I believe that telling more people what you're wanting to call in only helps you. Because if I know Cecilia's looking to move to New York, I'll be like, oh, Cecilia, okay, when she moves to New York, I'm going to go visit her. Yes. And that's just more vibration towards your goal and your dream. So the more people I tell, and I let in people, I trust people. I don't just tell everybody willy-nilly, but I also
protect you.
I protect my energy.
Yes.
Because there are people that
like,
I call
you're never gonna get there.
energy
Why are you gonna
vampires.
They are.
That will suck the life out of you because they grew up with lack and that's unfortunate. But I grew up with a very, toxic trauma aside, I grew up with parents that were like, reach for the stars, you can be anything you want to be. So I show up with that energy to my child and family. And I joke, my son's really into baseball and I'm like, and he watches the Giants and he's, a big fan. And he's like, do you think I could play in the major leagues? I'm like, heck yeah, you could play in the major leagues, but you got to love it. And you have to work hard. Yes. You're not going to get plucked out of the stands and put on the mound like Henry from The Rookie, but you will achieve amazing things if you apply yourself. So action behind your manifestations, letting it go. I'm visualizing the next thing I'm manifesting is this cute little bungalow in Santa Monica.
I saw it. It was so
and
cute.
I can see it. Yes. I visualized pulling into the driveway and taking the groceries out and having Asher come help me. And it's a one story. It's quaint. It's humble. It's, I see it. Now it's just a matter of you timing.
Went above and beyond besides just seeing it. It was cute. You wrote them a
note.
Little letter.
And I just believe that you will miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
I know.
Take the shot. The worst that could happen is you don't get a response or there's a no. Is it going to crush you? No. So take the shot, be specific, and then let the universe do its thing. Because girl, she is on fire. And if you let her, she will bring you amazing things.
She might not give you what you asked for. She might give you something better. So
and she might give you a stepping stone to get there. And if you're too scared to take that leap, you may never get it. Yeah.
No.
Love it.
Yes. Love it. Okay, so wrapping up, do you guys have thinking about the women that you are inspiring right now, the women that see that they're looking up and they're like, damn, okay, look at them, look at what they did, look where they have been, and look at where they're going and what they're building. Do you guys have any advice for the women that are looking at you right now? Because this is an industry full of men. And you guys are leading the way. So what do you guys
appreciate that?
Honestly, don't do it alone. Finding an amazing business partner woman that also thinks like you and can off balance you, because we both have our own strengths and weaknesses in doing this, I think is great. And surrounding yourself by other incredible women, having, asking for help when you need it, because we all wear these capes. I think sometimes that we think we can do it all ourselves.
Or expect to do it all,
or financially can only afford to do it all. And there are people out there willing to help and ask for that help and putting it out there like, hey, I'm looking for someone to help me with video editing. Do you, oh, I have somebody and da da da. And like it leads to so much. And I think as women, we just don't ask for help as much as we need to. And surrounding ourselves just with others that are willing to help. And there's some amazing men out there too that help.
Yeah.
Shout out to Philip. Philip, I need microphones. What can I do? And they step up. So just vocalizing when you need help and not trying to figure that all out yourself and doing things like that, I think is very important.
It sounds like both of your partners are very supportive also in your guys' dreams.
Oh yeah, get yourself a sugar daddy,
Right?
for sure. Like first hard stop. Get yourself. No, I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. That not at all. Unless that works for you, good. No, I think Fearon hit the nail on the head. Like, be vocal about what you need. Ask for help. Create a community. I mean, at the end of the day, this comes down to community. Whether that's the community that's helping you manifest that dream cottage, or that promotion, or that 10-pound weight loss, like whatever it is, to help people and invite people in. It doesn't have to be everybody on social media. It doesn't have to be your whole gym or your whole church or whatever. It's like, bring people close that you trust and let them in. Like,
and it's okay to DM strangers.
it is okay to DM strangers, because the worst they could do is leave you on red, and there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I think also, and I'll take it back to self-care because it is the foundation of my life, is do something for yourself. Whether you're a mother, a wife, a partner, a caregiver, do one thing a day for yourself, no matter what. And that could be go get the latte, go for a walk around the block with your headphones or looking up at the sky. Keep your head held high. Another thing is, like, don't be buried in your phone with comparison mentality and all the lack of things you don't have. And, oh, that girl's on a beach in Ibiza with a perfect ass. Like, get your head out of your phone once a day. Look around at where you are in life and find one thing to be grateful for. Sounds so cheesy, but it literally could be, damn, this is a good cup of coffee. I'm grateful for that. And today I'm going to go for a walk with this cup of coffee, or I'm going to listen to Celia's podcast, or I'm going to go jump in the ocean if that's your jam. Or, I just think that there are simple, tiny things every day. Take 5 minutes to deep breathe. Like 3 deep breaths for yourself will do a world of good. So self-care is extremely important.
Also, just like, things can happen so quickly. And I think people always think like their dreams are so far away, or it's going to take me forever to get there. And I give this example, but a year ago in January, I was working at Sundance, and I, like Mel and Mark Duplass, who are huge people that I had followed and loved, like I was literally there with my card trying to talk to them, trying to get a meeting, like, little girl in the corner fighting all the rest of the crowd at Sundance to try to talk to them. And like 1 full year later, they are at my festival, sitting at dinner, and we're having a conversation. Like, things can happen in 1 year. We planned an entire festival, invited them, they said yes, and now we're sitting and having, dinner with the Duplass.
Can we do a whole episode on crazy shit we've manifested?
Yes, we should do that.
Because I've manifested Justin Bieber in the flesh in front of me. Farron was there, and I'm like, she's like, holy shit.
That's
when you start to understand how freaking powerful you are. Like, it's to the point now where my husband's like,
we laugh about it.
Damn, like, okay, I get it now. Because I'm like, the shit I've manifested,
we both have husbands that don't, like, aren't so spiritual like that. And we're like, so what are we going to manifest today?
It's to the point now where I'm like, we probably live in a simulation. Just going to say it because,
witches, I'm not sure.
Some of the stuff I'm like, oh. So then when I leave a note on a door and people are like, okay, I'm like, no, it could happen. Because it has happened, and because I know that I have created crazy stuff in my life just by simply believing. If manifesting isn't a word for you, or it's too woo-woo, like, it's literally belief in yourself. It's literally just believing that what you want can come to you. Law of attraction, whatever you want to call it.
It's already yours.
It's already yours.
Like, the universe wants to give it to you. You just have to receive it.
Mic drop.
So.
And on that
note, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I feel so blessed and so excited that you guys were my first guest.
We're just so happy to have you in our orbit.
So happy.
Yes.
in our alien orbit.
I know.
I could talk to you all
I
day.
have an alien
Coven.
orbit too, so
A
I feel
witch
like
coven.
that's why we're like, yes, it's
coven.
we're on the same wavelength. We're like on that
100%.
quantum
Yes.
level, you know.
Yes.
For those people that don't know,
Love
Get
it,
on
girl.
the level.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Oh, the Justin Bieber stories.
Yes.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much. And we're not going to be
come
gone
to
forever.
StreamFest next
Well,
year.
yes.
Come see us next April.
April 23rd,
April 23rd through 26th.
2026, baby.
Yes.
We're excited.
We can cut it out now.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to Main Character Manifesto. If today's episode sparked something within you, share it with a friend, tag me on social. I would love for you to leave a review. That helps other people find the show so that it can help them step into the main character of their own lives as well. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review. Also, remember, I have a free PDF linked at the bottom of the show notes if you want a little help finding your main character and getting closer to your goals. And until next time, keep showing up for yourself. The world needs your story.